going on? It's Dr. Della Toro live here. I'm really pumped and excited about this conversation that we get ready to have. Listen, I think so many times, y'all, uh, we see speakers, we see influencers, we see communicators out there doing big and great things, but we also often don't get a chance to hear how the content lands with other people. So one of the things that I wanted to do in this really special broadcast is I wanted to invite one of my super friends and someone that I really admire tremendously. She's one of my top students, but she's also a colleague in this industry of life transformation. She came into my space probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I'll let her tell the story, but her name is Dr. Alana Curry, and she is quickly becoming one of the most recognized, revered, renowned psychiatrists on the planet, helping humanity, specifically in the area of trauma. And so it's a really powerful conversation we get ready to have. And while we're going to be talking about our brand new book, Shift into a Higher Gear, and all that great stuff, this young lady is a remarkable resource. Just won the 40 Under 40 award at Xavier University. She has spoken for the Obama Foundation multiple times. She is a radio host. She is constantly being interviewed on television, radio, podcasts. Her brand is literally making waves all over the world. And I'm really excited about having her here. Dr. Alana Curry, you come to this conversation not only from a practical perspective, but from a clinical perspective. So welcome to this pop-up conversation. And I think it's going to be transformational for people, truly.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And, I always love supporting anything that you do because you just, you make sense. And that is so important these days when there are so many people searching for how do we, hey girl, hey. like so I am just super excited to be here and to support what you do because I think more people should know about this. So let's get it.
Let's get it, girl. Let's get it. All right. So let's jump in really quickly. Kind of take people on a quick journey because, of course, you're a big fan of this book, Shift into a Higher Gear. But you actually attended the conference that this book was derived from previously as well. So talk about that, and then just kind of rewind even before that. So maybe take a minute and tell people what you do, so people can understand who you are and what you do, and then how you came into my space.
Sure. So I'm Dr. Alana, trauma psychiatrist. I am the only trauma psychiatrist that is out there because I created that. Sadly, there is a lack of training, there's a lack of understanding of the biological and brain-based aspects of psychological trauma. So I specialize in educating people about their own brain, body, and behavior and how it's programmed by the painful experiences that they go through and how they can activate their prefrontal cortex, the best part of their brain, to evolve into a different way of being. And I found you because I knew I had a message at the time that I connected with you. I was working at the VA. My whole career had been in the Houston VA as a PTSD specialist. But as I taught that one of my jobs was to explain to the veterans why they think the way they do, why they react the way that they do. And in that space, I was reading everything that I could find about PTSD and psychological trauma. And it began to occur to me that everybody was traumatized. It wasn't just I could hear the same patterns of thought and behavior from my veterans. I heard it in my friends. I heard it in my family. I was diagnosing it in everybody. Every time people opened their mouth, I was hearing trauma stories. And I was like, the last place I looked was me. And then I was like, oh, okay. We've been taught to think about this all wrong.
Wow.
So I had to figure out how to explain that to the masses. And I was like, I need coaching. So I went to a friend of ours, Dr. Tate, Eric Tate.
Yes.
Shout out to Eric.
And Eric Tate, the building.
He said you need to learn how to explain your message. You need to learn how to teach this. And of course, I'm teaching 8 to 10 people at a time,
Sure.
men and women at the VA. And then I come to you for Crush the Stage, right? And you're like, you put us on the stage and was like, okay, say what you're gonna say.
Right.
And this is how you say it. Okay. I still got my curriculum, y'all. Delatoro is amazing because he's a curriculum specialist. So when Delatoro puts something together, it is going to walk you. Where is this is from Speaking Business Mastery.
Yep.
It will walk you through what you need to do to get it together. Okay. Do you hear me? Okay. So y'all think I'm playing, but I told Dell I keep his curriculums close by.
That's right.
On my desk.
Yep.
To reference, to remind myself to just look in it. Just sometimes I open it up like, oh yeah, that's right. This is how you structure
Right.
The 3 T's and how you deliver information in a way a person's brain can receive it. So all of my materials and the things that I've developed with the strategies that I've learned from you and how to create shifts and changes in people quickly using neurolinguistic programming and those other things. I've integrated into the way I deliver my information because it creates quick change and it moves people into evolution. And that's what I'm about because I'm trying to retire.
Right. So, all right. So, Dr. Alana, first of all, thank you. And everybody in the comments, I want y'all to just say thank you for serving our veterans. I want everybody to fire that off in the comments right now. Thank you so much, Dr. Alana. We always say thank you to veterans for their service, but I think it's important that we recognize and honor those who serve our veterans. And so for me, it means a lot because I know, I'm a dependent of a disabled veteran. My father was shot in the upper back twice in the Vietnam War. So he became the national director of the PVA, Paralyzed Veterans Association of America. So my dad's done a lot of remarkable things. I'm so very proud of him. But it's folks like you who serve our veterans, which is really, really sensational. So you're getting all kinds of love right now from folks who are saying, thank you so much. That's right. Come on, Nikki.
Shouts out to my dad, who is also a Vietnam veteran, John Davis. Thank you very much. I believe that my interest in trauma and why I was drawn to trauma is because I have so much of a connection with so many veterans. My cousin Dawn and her husband Carrie are also veterans. And so, that has been my service because I'm like, I don't have the needs for it. Okay. This is how I'm going to serve. Okay. All right.
But no, seriously, that's a big deal. So first of all, everybody, thank you for those comments. This is going to be a powerful interview. We've only got about 20 more minutes left, but I really want to get into this. So first of all, thank you for your service to our veterans. That's one. Two, you said something powerful. You said you are the only one. So you have coined this narrative around trauma psychiatrists. You're the only one in the country that does this.
In the world.
In the world. Okay, awesome. So that's a big shout out. And then number two, you said everyone has trauma. Can you please double click on that for 1 second? And can you talk about the various places or the various things that could cause trauma in our lives? Because a lot of us think we go through stuff and we use the word, I just went through something. I went through a divorce, or I went through, a bankruptcy, or I went through a job layoff, or I went through a transition with my career, or whatever. And we just kind of glaze over it. But talk to us about what it means for everyone to have trauma and to honestly call it trauma.
I have approximately 7.9 billion potential customers because if you reside on the planet Earth in 2021, this year of our Lord, amen, you need a hard reset because you have been taught that trauma, like you have to go to war or that you have to experience some kind of physical violation. That is incorrect. Psychological trauma is any experience that is painful enough that it changes the way you think about yourself, other people, or the rest of the world. So there are a lot of things that program your brain and that you experience as slaps and other painful experiences that then affect the way that you operate in your now, every day, your past traumas, and the many things that you have been through: divorce, relationship violations, car accidents, wearing brown skin on this earth at the moment, being a woman, or being not non-binary, or being someone that does not fit in whatever plastic box that the dominant psyche of white male Christianity or whatever, that has shaped the way that we think in the world, is very invalidating for most people. So we're
Mm,
constantly running into these painful experiences that shape the way that we think about ourselves and other people and the rest of the world. And then you take that with you everywhere you go. You are
right,
a physical being having a spiritual being having a human experience, and we all can only experience our minds through what our brain generates in this body
right.
and what we act out. But if
Wow,
you don't have a anatomical understanding of yourself and your identity, then you
wow,
think that that stuff is happening because of stuff outside of you, when
wow.
it's really being generated by your own biological juices.
Ooh. So let me ask you a question. With all that you know, with all that you understand, and with all that you have processed, and all that you teach and coach and counsel, and all the things that you've done, why would a book like Shift into a Higher Gear be something that would be transformational for you? What were you able to find in a resource like this
Hmm.
that has been so powerful for you? Because I would assume that someone like you, I mean, you know it all, you've seen it all, you've studied it all, but you come at this book from a very, very different lens because of your clinical background and because of what you do every single day. So you said everyone has trauma and everyone needs to make shifts in their life. And that's what this book is really all about. It's about teaching everybody how to make shifts. So
Mhm.
Dr. Rolanda, you came to the Full Throttle Conference, and now you've seen how a 4-day conference literally has been morphed into a global book that's in airports all across the country. It's being translated in multiple languages. It's on Audible right now. It's making waves. Talk about coming from a conference attendee to now seeing this book in bookshelves all across the country. And what is resonating so powerfully with you about this book?
It's so interesting to me how you present your material, because it's like I can hear you talking to me in the book, okay? And you ask the right questions at the right time. I think all of us are fundamentally shifting in how we think of ourselves, and
Mm,
having to really think about mental health differently, because it's usually been like them folks over there. Now COVID is hit and we all like,
oh, me.
oh, oh.
Oh, me. You talk about me.
Oh, you know, like when people ask me, how are you? I just laugh, because I can't even put words to it's like, I don't want to just say I'm good, because I'm not. Like, but I am though.
Right.
But I'm really not.
And is it okay for people to not be okay? Can you speak to that for 2 seconds?
Listen, you're this is a roller coaster. If you are aware of what's going on in the world, you are going to be feeling all kinds of roller coasters of emotions. So
Right.
having some kind of expectation that anybody is just always okay, that is an example of how immature and foolish the human species is when it comes to understanding actually the design of our body, and how you can't prevent emotions even if you wanted to, because you're
Mm,
alive and you have an amygdala, and it's gonna and your
wow.
brain, that primitive part of your brain, presents constant input of all of the potential terror and all of the habitual patterns that you learned in your life. They're loud and they're busy, and
Mm.
that's your default. But what you do with this book, and I don't even know that I can identify a favorite part, but I'm going to, because you're making me. But like as I'm reading it, it's making me think through with my prefrontal cortex very logically about the statistics of, like, when I did that calculation, like how many summers do you have left? I was like, damn, I only got 31 and I do not want to do this. Now I got one more year to be trying to explain this to people because I've been repeating this shit now since when did I come to Crush the Stage? About 2017. I wanted to retire in 2017, right?
Yep.
So when I came to you and said, Dale, help me tell this story right to the world. I was already ready to be done with humans because they get on my nerves. I love y'all. I love me and y'all, but we're acting crazy right now. So anyway, I'm gonna give this about one more year because I said I want to retire at 40, and here I am. Praise God, amen. And it really just makes you go, okay, this is what I can do to do this 3D living where I live deep and I live wide and I focus on quality of really getting this message out. But truly, I think my favorite part so far has been the emotional mastery part. Chapter 7 about emotional mastery, I think is so important, right? Like people ask me, what can I do? This is so like, I can't even get to the therapist because their waiting list is 3 months and I can't get, coaching is expensive. The psychiatrist is complicated. All of these things are so hard to access. Okay. Start talking about emotions. Start mastering your own damn emotions.
That's
like
right.
what I love about this is that you take people through a walk through their, like, not focused on their traumas, but like with the awareness that we all have them.
Yeah.
And then being able to help people say, like, first of all, you can't do one of Dell's books without a pen. So don't play. Every time I have Dell's book in my hand, I have to have a pen nearby because you need to be able to write in here. Yeah. And you draw out things with the questions.
Come on.
That helps people to rebuild a healthy mental space. Like, where is your emotional home?
Right.
And then explaining it to people so they understand. And then you give the answers and exercises for how do you create the experience that you want? How do you take action steps? And then you make us write it down. And sometimes you even throw in your own little statements. I could hear you say it like, I cracked up when you said, it's now o'clock.
That's right. It's now o'clock. That's what time it is.
Now o'clock. When do you need to get started? When do you need to get this book? When do you need to start working on your emotion? Now. You can work on it now. You don't have to wait. And it doesn't have to take 1,000 years. And we don't have to do anything else other than get it done.
So I want everybody to fire off in the comments real quick. I can master my emotions. I want you to fire that off in the comments. I can master my emotions. Dr. Curry, talk to us really quick. What's a couple things that anybody can do immediately? And we teach several of these shifts in the book, but the reason why I made the chapter called Shift to Emotional Mastery versus Task Mastery is because here's what I believe. I believe we as high achievers, Doc, we know how to get stuff done. That's not the issue. The issue is, can we create that better emotional home that we come back to every day? Because that's what I teach in the book. The engine, the actual motor, right? That's what motorcycles are known for, is that roaring engine. That roaring engine of your life is really not your to-do list. It's the quality of the core. I get chill bumps. It's the quality of the core emotions you experience every single day. And when I talk about the emotional home, I'm like, okay, no matter what happens in my day, I find my way back to gratitude. I find my way back to energy. I find my way back to love and joy, and I find my way back to some sense of passion for what I do. Yeah. And that's my emotional home. And anybody who knows me knows that. So talk about the importance of every one of us, come on. I see you, Stephanie. Talk about the importance of us having an emotional home plate. And is it possible? Because I wrote it from my perspective, but clinically, can we have an emotional home? And how important is it that we set that emotional home address correctly?
I love how you said that. That never, Dale. You always saying something. Write that down. Write that down. I'll tell you that peace is my North Star, the emotion of peace, right?
Very nice.
When I think about that, I tell people I set my North Star, I set my compass as peace. I know that I'm in the a good space when I feel peace. If something is messing with my peace, right? If I feel that agitation,
Right.
then I know that that's my spirit, because emotions are the language of the soul. So that's my spirit pulling me towards something that I need to pay attention to, and maybe put a little bit of attention on, like, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What is pulling on me? Should I act on? So it's examining the emotions, I think, that you so powerfully pull out. But one thing, to answer your question, an accountability partner, right,
Okay.
is one of my favorite tools that you point out within the emotional mastery, because that means that I gotta put it to action to be talking to somebody about my emotions in a healthy way, because I'm not always going to be able to stay full in control. Like, I think it's a sign of our, like, how kind of weird our society is, that people would be surprised that a psychiatrist would have her own struggles and need help, and or that a Simone Biles, who throws herself through the air in death defying moves at every turn, would get to the point of having anxiety about it. Like, they
Wow.
have
Right. Yeah.
we have amygdalas, y'all. Like, none of this should be a surprise, right?
Ooh, come on. Come on.
And that's a sign of our utter immaturity, but that's okay, because we didn't know any better. I went to all the school, and I still had to do work on controlling my amygdala and controlling all my body stuff, and just really having the awareness that I think your book helps pull out, and talking to my friends. Like, I have um, colleagues and employees and friends, and we talk about our emotions. We make ourselves have those discussions so that we can
Come on.
develop our emotional vocabulary.
Ooh, emotional vocabulary. Okay, so one of the things that you said that I think is powerful. I'm gonna see if I can get my homegirl Pagine to join us as well. It's gonna be girl power up in here in a second. But watch this. You said something powerful. So we all can have. You said that peace is your emotional home. And I want everyone to type in, what is the primary emotion that you want to come back to at the end of the day? And I want you to type that in the comments, because we make you do that exercise in the actual book. We make you get clear about what your emotional home is. And so we can have an emotional home no matter what it is. And that emotion can actually be, all right, real quick. I think this is important to distinguish for people. Are there good emotions or bad emotions, or do all emotions serve us? Can you teach on that real quick, Doc?
Um, the concept of things being good and bad, let's
Okay.
think of that as, like, that was a sort of childlike way that we were taught to think about emotions, and it's binary. So anything that's binary is, like, primitive. So let's take the whole thing into account and recognize that even bad emotions, or things that feel bad, they serve a purpose, right? So that's
Gotcha.
the reason why developing emotional vocabulary is important, because if you feel bad, like, put words on that. What do I mean? I'm feeling jealous. I'm feeling ashamed of something.
Good.
I'm feeling
Yes.
guilty. I'm
Yes.
feeling tired. I'm feeling
Name it.
hungry.
Actually name
Name
it. Yes.
Exactly. Like, to make yourself do some psychological weightlifting, which I think is your gift, is that you like the 7 quick keys to protecting your new emotional home. It's like bam, 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 bam. If you do these things, they work. Practice radical self-care. Like,
Yeah.
boom, love on yourself, period. The way that you love on other people. Pause, not
Pause.
remove, but just redirect, right? Choose
Yes.
to not participate in conversations of low vibration. Cut it out.
Mm-mm.
Break your addiction to the trauma drama. 3, minimize the time you spend with people who don't share your new mind and heart set. God bless them. They are not your responsibility.
Wow.
Like, that's just 3 of them.
That's just
If
3 of
you
them.
just, if you just did one, you would be feeling better today. You would feel more
Right.
peace. You would feel more honed, and your mental health would be better simply with that. And that's like what I've learned is that we need more psychological skills. That's why I say skills over pills. I don't have a
You
problem
do
with
say that.
medications.
Come
They
on.
helpful, but I can take a medication one time a day. I'm not going to be able to take a medication every time I'm sitting in traffic or somebody
Right.
calls me and gets on my nerves or my
Right.
kid does something that I got, like, so having the practice, like I remember you telling us about how music can be so powerful.
The
And I
atmosphere.
started
Yeah.
being intentional about playing music that elevates me. I
Yeah.
can still do my trap. You heard me when we got y'all. I was trapping out before we got on, and Dell
Yeah.
was like, "Get it, Dr. Lana." But at the same time, I can do that. But then I can also be deliberate about like playing music that is high vibration.
That's good. That's
So
good.
you give so many just practical action tips. It's just don't. Go
So,
get
so,
the book. Get the
so
book, y'all.
everybody,
I
make sure.
bought 20 books. I bought enough books for my whole team. So if you're on my team,
Boom.
yeah,
You
boom,
getting a book.
you getting a book. And we gonna get this together because we all need a shift. Like our
Yes.
whole planet needs to
Yes.
shift into a higher gear. And this is not a replacement for therapy, but Delatora, what you do is such a gift. It's such a gift.
Mm. Dr. Lana, I appreciate that. I mean, and what you're saying is so important, especially this time of year. Y'all, it's so important that we gift this to other people, that we be a blessing to other folks. November, December, y'all, we have to understand not everybody looks at the holiday season and is excited about it and is joyful about it. Sometimes the holidays can be a very, very challenging time of year for people. And you see this because it triggers trauma. Can you quickly talk about how the holidays, just to give us a sensitivity to it? Because a
Yeah.
lot of times people just assume that the holidays is amazing, but from a trauma perspective, the holidays can be a very, very interesting time of year for people to have to navigate. Can you please speak to that really quickly? And then I think my homegirl Pagine is going to join us, talk about how much she loves the book. She's endorsed the book, the whole 9 yards. But talk to us about how the holidays can be a little bit interesting and how we can all be more sensitive to people as we go into this holiday season.
Yeah, I think we have had a really difficult last 2 years. I think it's safe to say that people have lost people, lives have been changed. This is the time in many wars where significant battles were fought.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who are missing their loved ones or who are not having the family experience, or even you might have your family, but they you got to go home and see the uncle that touched you, or
Right. Wow.
go home and deal with the mother who was verbally abusive. Like everyone does not have a pretty picture. In fact, I would venture to say that most people don't have the pretty picture that has been painted externally. And
Wow.
so you're going to go home and you're going to get invalidated, or they're going to come to you and somebody's going to have a comment about your weight, or this is Thanksgiving is a triggering holiday for many people because it's so designed around eating foods that are delicious but somewhat unhealthy.
Right, right, right.
As I plan my menu and
Right, right,
do what
right.
I need to do,
That
but
part.
there are going to be emotional challenges and slaps and psychological traumas, those invisible injuries that I tell people trauma is spiritual. So we have to have awareness of our emotions or we're going to harm someone. So operate in empathy.
Wow.
Empathy is love.
Listen, I'm gonna add. I'm gonna add to this incredible conversation a woman that I admire so highly. Pagine is just a remarkable communicator. She's a remarkable speaker. She is a remarkable businesswoman and CEO. We are co-members of the National Speakers Association, co-CSPs together. And she is just a gladiator out there as a titan for empowering women and empowering leaders over the Pagine is great. this book months ago, and she's been going through it. And she's like, Dr. Del Toro, you got to get me on this stream. So, Dr. Curry, I want you to meet my good friend Pagine. Pagine, talk to our audience. What's been powerful for you about shifting to a higher gear, and how's it been impacting you as you're already an incredible leader and you're already an incredible influencer?
So hi, Dr. Alana. I love the girl. I love how you were speaking. You speak my language, so I'm really happy to hear you. And Del Toro, I love you, all that. But I have to tell you, I get tons of books. I'm in the Hall of Fame, Motivational Speakers Hall of Fame. I'm out there all the time. So I get a lot of books. And I don't usually, they just kind of get piled up. And I was picking up this book and I started looking at it, and I was telling you, Del Toro, yesterday that I really, really love how it's written. I love the way it's written. Now, it's not coming from a place of, I'm just going to write this, put it out there, spit it out. It is thoughtful. It is prescribed. It is absolutely rich with interactive activities. You're not just reading, but you're acting. And it's a choice. It's always a choice of what you're willing to do or what you're willing not. But here's the thing that I love about this book. It doesn't matter if you start at the beginning. It doesn't matter if you start at the back. Right? Because I always go to the back. I like to go in the fasting. What's in the back that I can see? But you can open in any page where you are and you walk away with real truths.
Yeah.
Now, I have to tell you, one of the things that I was wrote Del Toro yesterday, which was really fascinating, is he shared a story in the book about the cat. Are you feeding the cat? And the power of understanding, right? If a feral cat is outside of your door and you give them food, what's going to happen? The cat's going to keep on showing up.
Yeah, that's your cat.
That's your cat. You just now own that cat. And the truth of the matter is, so what cats are you feeding outside of your life? What cats have you been giving attention to? What cats do you want to keep? Because some of those cats you don't want around. You just don't want around. And so if you do want certain cats around, how are you feeding them? How are you exhibiting? How are you calling to them? How are you showing up for them? Yeah. One of the things why is this book meaningful to me? Clearly I've been around for a while. I've grown, I've expanded, I've created it. I've been able to build a really successful business several times over. But what I will continue to do, which I think every leader must do, is continue to grow. Yes. The party isn't over until it's over. And honestly, for me, it's like not even over then, because I will be an angel. I will be showing up.
That's I'm coming back.
I will be there. So just know, you may think that I may not be here in body, but trust me, I will be there in spirit, and you call on me because I'll work my magic in other places too.
I told my daughter that yesterday. Like, you don't have to worry, Pooh. I'll be there no matter what.
You just know, when you see that, when just know every animal that you see in some shape or form. Yeah, I'm watching you. I'm there. I'm there.
Go ahead.
But that's the truth. So here's the other thing. I opened up the book, and there's this chapter 6, shift from fear-based living to faith-based lifting. Let me tell you something. This is my truth. This is what I know for sure. Does fear own you, or does faith own you? Is fear going to take over, or is faith? And, so I have spent many, Dr. Alana, you talk about people, having had life. Man, I have the violin that whenever I hear anybody on stage playing violin, I'm like, move over. I've got a whole freaking quartet major orchestra. Like, you're having one violin, I got a whole thing behind me.
Right.
And what I've learned, though, is that is not my truth. That is really experiences that I had based on what I was thinking. It wasn't experiences that I had based on faith, because here's what I know about faith. And this has been eye-opening to me, which is why I'm loving this book, because you talk about it here, Del Toro. And I think it's really important that people understand you are a gift. You're a magnificent, amazing, joyous gift. The moment you were born, that was a miracle. Think about it. There are guys have millions of sperm coming out. Those things travel up, find one egg, and maybe that one egg stays together. That's a miracle, right?
Yeah.
So
And wait, let me say something on that. Embryology was the most interesting class to me in medical school, because the process of any of us getting here and being halfway functional is so miraculous. It is so amazing. You're so right about that.
But listen to this. This is how divine we are. Not only were we created, we were carried in a dark, wet place for a month. Then we decided, Mom, I'm coming. You can't stop me. And she goes, no, you're not. And here's this thing. You're telling me that an 8-pound, 7-pound, 10-pound is going to go through this hole.
The trauma of getting here. Yeah.
And she's yelling, no, hell no. If you've ever given birth, you know what I'm talking about. But the other thing is, even if you had a C-section, think about that. Somebody just was able to go in and you were born. Wow. Now, here's the other thing. You were born to people who didn't know what they were doing. Here's a slippery, slidey little thing that no matter how prepared you are not prepared.
Wow. Wow.
But many of us were dropped. Many of us ate the wrong food. Many of us were yelled at. Many of us were, that's normal.
Trauma.
Not only did we survive, we thrived. And here's the shift that happens when you're after 18. After 18, you have a choice. Do you choose to say, I am a gift? I am a blessing. I am received. I was here to do something. I am so loved. But here's the thing is, we basically look at, I'm so loved from somebody out there. Del Toro, you talk about in this book, it is not the love from out there. Is do you love yourself? Have you fallen in love with yourself? Do you absolutely know? And that's where that fear and faith comes in.
Yeah.
Do you know, I love myself. I love the way I look. I love the way I move. I love the way I talk. I love the way I smile. And guess what? If you don't like the way you're doing, then you get to change.
That's right.
You get to change. You get to say, I'm ready for another thing. I'm ready. So here's the other thing that I had to share, if you don't mind. I'm just like, I'm a little bit on a blessing over here. I love
it. I think it's fantastic.
I love what Tara says. Absolutely. My mother's emotional home was always, oh, child, I'm blessed.
That's it.
Gratitude, no matter what the doctor's report, no matter the financial concerns, no matter the news she got from friends or family, she just had an engine that kept on purring to gratitude. Every morning, I write 10 gratitudes. Every single morning, there is something. Let me tell you, I wake up every morning. There's a song on YouTube. You're talking about music, right? There's a song on YouTube by the Walrus people. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's a children's song. And I listen to that in the morning. It's good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And hi to you. I say no. Good morning. Good morning. How could you not sing that song and feel alive that you could sing, alive that you could be there? And I think that's what no matter what you're given, you're given the solution to solve it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what your mom is saying here. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Practice radical self-care. I am a vegan. I say all you people every single one of you that is listening saying, oh, I'm over this age. I'll never lose weight. I'll never do this. And I'm able to say this now because when I was at my highest weight, which was 235 pounds, when I was at my highest weight, I was like, oh God, here's somebody that's going to talk to me about how they're going to change your life and all that. But
Right.
let me share a story with you because it's totally true. Um,
And
practice
we got about 7 more minutes. Just so you guys know, we got about 7 more minutes in this conversation. So
All right, so let me tell you 7 more minutes. First off, here's 1 minute because I'm not even going to go to that story. 1 minute. Buy the book. Why are you talking to us? Go buy the book. You could go to shiftintoahighergear.com. You could buy
right.
the book on Barnes and Nobles, Amazon. You could buy that book. Now, here's why you need to do it today. We are all in a fellowship right now to ensure that Del Taro becomes a New York Times bestseller. Let me tell you, there are not, and I don't know who's watching over here, but there are not a lot of people of color getting #1 New York Times bestsellers. I love you, Del Taro, but let me tell you, you want to make a difference in the world, you gotta help. You gotta help. So that's #1. #2 is you call all your pastors, your groups, your associations, your everything, and you tell them to buy this book, share with them, shift into a higher gear. Shiftintoahighergear.com. That's where you gotta know. #3, second over here, you have to know this following thing. It doesn't ever matter what is being said. It's that you have to read it and actually do it to change your life. So you want to be able to do that.
Amen.
#4, I'm going to ask you all to take out wherever you're watching it. There's a share button, and this is a time for you all to share on your PowerPoint slides. You share it to people. Say, "Oh, I listened to this." You must share it now. This is critically important to make a transformation in the world. The 5th thing is get over yourself. You are a gift of God. You're a blessing. You're all that. Fall in love with yourself, enrich yourself. 6, you see that man over there looking very serious in that thing? He's not that serious. He's filled with love.
He's hilarious. I've laughed out. I've belly laughed
So,
like multiple times doing this book.
there is. So you just need to know this is an entertainment piece. And let me tell you, #7 of my little less than 7 minutes is there is love. Love, love, love. You want to change this world, you got to love yourself. You want to change this world, you got to love somebody else. You got to change the world, you got to love your family. You want to change yourself, you have to shift into a higher gear. You're being called to be blessed at the highest level. You're being called to shift to a higher gear. And Del Toro's book is it. You got to shift into a higher gear. Better your best and live to the fullest. There is so much life in you. So just do it. Act now. Thank you.
Love it. Thank you.
They'll create shortcuts that help you get from that amygdala driven thinking to straight to your prefrontal cortex, where you learn how to use empathy. Everything Dell does is rooted in the concept of empathy and gaining deeper understanding of yourself and pointing yourself in the right direction. So I just value it so much, and I can't speak more highly of this man. Like, you have a gift. Your mother is a blessing. I feel like your mom is my mom. Like,
oh yeah.
Thank you for letting people into you, because you somehow managed to take you from being on stage in FTX and creating that for us to put it into this book. And it's so fun.
Can you ladies do me a favor and speak to women? Because I believe that we're in an era right now where women's empowerment is just like never before. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Can you speak to, even though this book was written by a man, and even though in a lot of instances people assume that motorcycle riding has more of a masculine connotation, I've seen tons of female riders and they're amazing. But can you guys speak to for a minute, maybe take 2 minutes each? I'll start with you, Dr. Alana, and then I'll go to you, Pagine. And one of the reasons why me and Pagine love each other is that we're probably 2 of the only speakers on the planet in the Speakers Association who are on a first name basis. Literally, people call Del Toro Pagine. There's very few. We pulled a Madonna, we pulled a Cher, we pulled a Beyonce in the speaking world, baby. Say something else. And y'all see why. But I want both of y'all to take 2 minutes each and speak to women, empower women, and why women need this book so bad at this particular point in time. Dr. Alana, you go first.
I think that there is a lack of validation that many women have experienced, where we're Black women especially are learning to love on ourselves, speak to ourselves, heal ourselves, have our sister circles. But having a healthy Black male perspective of being able to show you how beautiful you are and help coach you through what you need to be able to appreciate yourself. That's something that many of us unfortunately are missing. Like I have a dad and a stepdad, and have had many other relationships, and the way that you have helped me think about myself is really something that none of them really were good at, honestly. So I think you have this great way of helping put, even though you're coming from the male perspective, you're really speaking to just anyone. Like, this is such a spirit neutral experience. And I think that's something that's so healthy, that like you're saying, that this applies to anybody. If you're, the cat don't care. If you're feeding that cat, or if you're putting your attention psychologically, the amygdala driven fear, remember, fear is false evidence appearing real. So you really help people ground their fears in a way that they can work through it. And I'm not a motorcycle rider, although I've been on a motorcycle. But I appreciate all of the ways that you broke down what motorcycle riding has taught to you. So I think that that's something, as a woman, like, I've had the experience. I really don't need to ride a motorcycle again personally. However, it does, like, every point that you're hitting still makes so much sense as you are working on personally learning how to shift this motorcycle. Because I tell people the human body is the greatest technology on earth. We think that we're technologically advanced, but we're not, because we don't really understand this thing very well. But we are like a great motorcycle, and your strategic way of teaching people how to be healthy can be so valuable for women.
Wow,
So,
wow,
and I'm
beautifully stated. Nice. All right, I'm gonna tag it over to begin. Dr. Alana, so powerfully stated. Your emotional vocabulary is sensational. Let me just say that. I love it. It's awesome, and I appreciate you. Begin. Take 2 minutes and empower women. Why should women go run out and grab this book everywhere it's available?
So there's a couple of things you need to know. Is one is I've worked with Harley Davidson to recruit and retain women writers, and women writers of Harleys are some of the largest growing motorcycle owners in the world.
Wow, that's so
And
cool. I didn't know that.
yeah, and so I've been a writer until I crashed my head into a wall, and then I said, "Oh, that's not going to happen anymore." And then, well, here's the thing that's really important. I work specifically with Jedi women, women who are called to lead, women who are raising their hand, and I work with the WAMU market. What does WAMU mean? Women, African American, Asians, Hispanics, military who offer opportunities for leadership. Here's the bottom line: you cannot lead if you do not grow. And we have to use all the resources that are available to us to be able to know how we are magnificent, strong, powerful, that we can own and command a room in a powerful way. One of the things that's really important, and why I love this book, is that you have to know who you are and how to get out of yourself. Sometimes when I'm working with women, we are so concerned about what other people think of you that you don't realize what is more importantly is, what do you think about you? What do you think about who you are? Now, this book takes you through a really in-depth way to enjoy yourself and get to know yourself. I love the sense of talking about rejection. I love the sense that we have about really understanding, how do you shift who you are in your position, because you have to promote yourself to the higher level. Nobody's going to promote you until you promote yourself to the higher level. So this book helps you promote yourself to the next highest level. Honestly, I don't care if it's written by a man, woman. Is this going to move me to a higher level? Is this going to bring me to where I need to be? Is this going to show me the blessings of who I am and why I am called to lead and why I must show up and why I must be? And then you're 100% right, Del Toro. This is the decade, and I'm talking right from now. I always say it's a decade. I've been doing that every year. Like, we got another decade of the woman.
That's right.
And, 58% of the world is female.
That's right.
Of professional studies, of graduates of law, legal women are graduating from the legal industry, from getting their law degrees at higher levels. Medicine, they are graduating as medical doctors at higher level. They are getting more PhDs. They are getting more. And here's the thing that you all have to realize: the system was created that leaders at the highest level have to have some college degrees and secondary careers.
That's right.
The system was created like that. Well, guess what? Women are getting those careers, those degrees. Women are stepping up. Women are raising their hands. And with people leaving the workforce,
right,
there is a vacuum of leadership. And only those leaders that know themselves can make that bigger, higher step.
Wow. Wow.
I had to say.
Sensational, y'all.
Mic drop.
Right, mic drop moment. Right. So listen, one of the things that I love that both of these remarkable women have underscored multiple times in this presentation is in the end of chapter 8. Chapter 8 is called Shift Your Posse, because who you ride with matters. And y'all, I want you all to see a visual example of the fact that Dr. Del Toro rides with some incredible riding partners, and in Pegeen, and Dr. Alana, and so many others. Y'all, do yourself the favor. Take the posse audit in the book, right? Go to chapter 8 and just take the posse audit for yourself and really assess and analyze where you are with the relationships in your life. If coupons have an expiration date, if milk has an expiration date, come on. Then the people in your life sometimes don't belong anymore. You got to let them expire so that you can actually attract into your life the folks that you really need. And I want you to upgrade your biker posse so that you have remarkable, amazing people like this in your life. And I really want to encourage you to get this book and get it for yourself and several other people so you can upgrade your biker posse. But one of the greatest things that both Dr. Alana and Pegeen both underscored a few minutes ago is in the end of chapter 8, I say one thing. You can do all this great stuff. You can have masterminds. You can have accountability partners. You can have mentors, mates, and mentees. You can have an incredible posse audit. But at the end of the day, the most important person that you have to ride with each and every day is you. And you cannot not ride with you. So the most important person in your biker posse, my friend, is you. So love you, celebrate you, graduate you, evolve you, and take you to the next level each and every day. Ladies, I love you all so much. Thank you for being a part of this broadcast. I appreciate it so much. And thank you all for riding with me as we take this all the way to the NYT. Everybody, do yourselves a favor. Pick up a copy of this. Get Lottie, get Dottie, get everybody on it. Get everybody. Real soon. All right. God bless you guys. We appreciate you so much. It's going to be a great time. We baby.